Hey everyone, it's Steve and a special guest today, Mr. Max here, with another episode of Keep 'em Rollin'. And today we are going back into that just absolutely outstanding collection to bring you part 2 of 4 of the Russian NKVD. So I'm not going to talk much more except to do just a tad bit of housekeeping here. First off, future videos coming up, we're going to be doing the Commonwealth nations out of this collection, the United States, we're going to be doing more Russian, we're going to be doing German, so there's a lot more. I'm also going to intersperse some recent pickup videos just to kind of break it up a little bit. So that's part 1 of housekeeping. Part 2, for all of you who have been following and watching these videos, thank you. I enjoy bringing them to you, and I know that this gentleman, he's just ecstatic about being able to share his collection with all of you, so I appreciate you watching. We've been having some problems with comments, so I think I've got that fixed. So I'm sorry about that, but that should be fixed now. And then finally, I want to welcome all the new subscribers. Welcome, and I hope you're enjoying this channel and getting some good things out of it. So on that note, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to turn it over to part 2 of the Russian NKVD.
This is a major of NKVD troops, not state security. The overseas camp, you know, it has a brick red star in back of the enamel star, and the collar tabs have gold piping on them rather than carmine piping that NKVD of state security would have. But he does have the brick red tab. Gold piping means that he's a command officer, and the sleeve chevrons that also help to denote rank were similar to the Army, except for NKVD troops. They use 2 different colors. They use brick red, and also the leading edge of it is carmine, and that's how the NKVD troops differentiated themselves in 1940. And directly next to him is NKVD troops of a general, model 1940. And for a degree of time, they did away with the blue top cap. You know, they were trying to, Stalin felt that they should be more related to the Army rather than the NKVD, so they did away with the blue top caps. And the leadership in the NKVD didn't appreciate that. They wanted their blue hats back, so they were, you know, given them again in 1943 when they had a major uniform change. But they used royal blue colors for them, the collar tabs, and also the slave insignia that denote that of a general of 1940. For NKVD troops, they use the royal blue rather than red in back of the sleeve chevron and the stars on the sleeve. And also he has another NKVD proficiency badge. And a red banner, of course. And next to him, we have a Frontier Troops Lieutenant Colonel, and he has the green top cap, black band and carmine piping, and the collar tabs are of emerald green, what would be Frontier Troops, and the gold piping indicates he was a command officer, and also the sleeve chevron is a model of 1940, of which would be that of a lieutenant colonel, and the Army, you know, used the same insignia as that. And we have a NKVD white uniform, and they had a special shoulder strap at this time in 1943 when they first came out. They differentiated themselves between the Army. It has a kind of an unusual shape on the end of it, near where the button is, and they didn't keep it for very long because it was difficult to make, and I think that's probably the reason why they just dropped it after a while and went to a six-sided shoulder strap for everybody, for the frontier troops and state security. And this, we have a Model 43 double-breasted tunic for the NKVD frontier troops. This one is for a senior lieutenant, and both the NKVD troops and the border frontier troops or border guards utilize this double-breasted style of tunic.
What about the banner?
The banner is a NKVD. Notice their initials are on the lower part right there. And that was a banner that was given for successful jailers or prisons. And that particular banner, they would have like an annual competition as to who ran the tightest gulag or prison. So that banner was traded around with whoever was the most successful prison.
Okay.
Okay, this is a Naval General of NKVD frontier troops, and within the Soviet Union, if you weren't a seagoing member of the Navy, they referred to you as a naval general, and that existed within the Navy as well as the NKVD. But his piping around the collar and the shoulder boards is emerald green, and also his visored hat, and back of the anchor insignia on the wreath is also that emerald green. And naval generals themselves didn't wear slave rings like that of a regular naval officer. It actually had spools on the cuffs, and the 3 spools would indicate the rank of general, and that was true for the Army too, at least for the 1943 pattern uniforms. But again, he was double-breasted, and they were also awarded, say, the NKVD proficiency badge, which he has on his right breast. And also the anchor and star insignia on the collar, you will notice that the hammer and sickle is also emerald green. And the uniform next to him is a technical general, where his insignia is in silver, and he's also of the frontier troops, and he must have been on the status of a political commissar rather than a command general, because on his cuff he's not wearing the braid or the bullion spools that would be on a regular naval general. And why I say technical, his insignias are in silver rather than gold. And to the right of him is a colonel of NKVD troops. He has the brick red collar tabs with the blue, royal blue piping, and also with his rank was the spools that would be worn on his sleeve. He would have tool spools to indicate his rank of colonel. And next to him we have NKVD Troops General, and they came out with this tunic in 1943. It was the Czarist green color, which they revived in 1943. They were bringing back some of the traditional uniforms of the Tsarist army under Stalin to kind of bring back esprit de corps that they had largely lost, and that was bringing back the use of shoulder boards during that time too. He has the blue top cap, of which was reinstituted, because they did away with it in 1940 for generals, and the royal blue piping is used on around the tunic and collar tabs or shoulder boards. And something else rather special about the tunic of the period for the NKVD is the general's insignia for the sleeve was unique to them. It was the Army. No one else wore that except the NKVD as the pattern of insignia that was used on the sleeves. And the tunic next to him is State Security Model 43 of the NKVD, which was single-breasted, and they also had a specialized shoulder board which has kind of a blue line decoration going through it. And again, the blue top cap for a general was both worn by both State Security and NKVD troops. And also the insignia that was worn on the cuff was that of the same as NKVD troops. This is also for State Security, the same pattern, except they used it too. This is what Joseph Stalin would have looked like in 1943. He was wearing insignia of Marshal of the Soviet Union on his shoulder boards, and the visored cap is a Model 43 pattern of Marshal of the Soviet Union. The gold star on the uniform is that of Hero of Socialist Labor, and that was the hero star that he wore. with a hammer and sickle on it. He didn't wear one of the combat variety that was here with the Soviet Union. And he wore this for various encounters with negotiations with the Allies, through 1945. And the one next to this one is NKVD state security. It's the royal blue piping without the brick red being involved, which would be for the NKVD frontier troops.
I mean, when I watch these, when I edit these, when I work with these, I'm still absolutely amazed at the sheer immensity of this collection. It's incredible. And once again, to be able to go into this collection and actually be able to touch these items, because this collector, he's not someone who is, oh, it's all behind glass, don't touch anything, don't look at anything, don't breathe. He's the type of person where it's, if you ask, can I look at that? Oh, by all means, pick that up, take a look at it. The only way you learn is by, examining. So that's just an incredible experience to be able to have. So, and then to share it with all of you and bring you along for this journey is also absolutely fantastic. So on that note, the next video, which should be up tomorrow, will be part 3. And then we have one more to kind of conclude the Russian NKVD. After that, I'm going to do a video to kind of help break things up of just some recent pickups, and then we'll be back into this collection again. So on that note, everybody, I wish you all well. And this is Steve reminding all of you to, well, keep them rolling.